Good morning. Don't worry, we didn't forget offering. I've got a plan, okay? It's going to be good. You're going to love it. You're going to be saying, this is so much better. So, all right? So how's everybody doing today? Well, thank you, Dusty. Dusty's doing well. How about the other crowd? Awesome. Good. I've enjoyed this series. This is the last week we're going to be doing Twisted. And today is like no other. We're jumping into some of the most commonly misquoted, misinterpreted scriptures in the Bible. And today is no different. So let's just jump in here. If I were to say to you, how many of you could use just a little more money? How many of you would be down for that? Just raise your hands. Raise your hands. Amen. Yes. Well, right now, I told you we weren't doing offering today. We're doing something a little bit different. So if everybody looks under your chair, you might find a $100 bill. There's 3 of them out there in the crowd somewhere. I am just joking. So I see people out there, they're like, he said more money. It's got to be here somewhere. It could be in someone's purse. It could be in a wallet next to you. I'm kidding. We can't afford that. Like, this church is awesome. This church is awesome. Everybody would love a little bit more money. And I'm with you. I know what that's like. Everyone could use a little bit more money. But haven't you ever heard that money is the root of all evil? Has anybody ever heard that money's the root of all evil? I heard someone get it right. Well, you're right. There's something about this. It's actually right here. Paul is talking to Timothy, and he says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. So Paul's talking to Timothy about that, and this is one of those things where it's like, well, I kind of like money, or at least I like what money can give me. I like what money can provide. And, people say that money can't buy you happiness, but I can drive something that money can buy that makes me pretty happy. You know what I'm saying? I can eat something that money can buy that makes me pretty happy. Can I get an amen, Sonny Johnson? Oh, I'm one of those people, man, I get joy from eating. Amen. I know. You're like, we can tell, Shane. You don't have to tell us, all right? But I know what it's like. I'm with you. But I know that for some of you in this room today, you're saying, well, the good news is that's not me. I'm not a greedy person. I don't have this love of money. I'm not an evil person. But let's look into this. How do we know if we love money? How do we know if we love money? I like the things that money can give me. So does that mean I love money? How do we know if we love money? The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 5:10, it says, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. So I kind of trapped you at the beginning of the service today when I said, who could use a little more money? And everybody was like, yes, please. Anybody in here satisfied with their income? We always think, we deserve more. We work hard, we deserve more. Why does someone else make more than me that doesn't work as hard as I work? So whoever loves money never has enough. Solomon, Mr. Wise, shares this with us in Ecclesiastes 5:10. And I can remember this in Julie and I's life. When I first started in youth ministry, and right here, Julie was starting as a teacher, everybody knows that those are high-rolling, big-paying jobs. You know what that's like? Together, I don't know what we were making, but as a youth pastors don't make good money. Pastors normally don't make good money. So I know you'll see like Joel Osteen out there and some others that make big money. I haven't written my book yet. I'm working on that, so maybe one of these days. But when Julie and I first started out, I can remember thinking like she was making teacher cash that was low, and I was making youth pastor money, which was low. And we kept thinking one of these days we'd look at people in our life and think, one of these days we're going to be like the Jeffersons, and we're going to move on up, and we're going to have a deluxe apartment, and we're going to make some real money. And I can think little by little our life would change, and Julie got a better job, and I started getting a little bit more money. It's funny, though, because as you start to get more money, you know what you do? You spend more money. Yes, I heard invest. We have invested. That's good. But in that, though, your life doesn't change a whole lot because you spend more. It just doesn't change a whole lot. You make more, you spend more. You make more, you spend more. And you find yourself in the same situation, always wishing you had a little bit more. always wishing that you had a little bit more. And so for Julie and I, money is one of these things. I had this wife that thrives on security. She's this little sweetheart girl. She thrives on security. And money is one of those things that provides a sense of security. Wouldn't it be nice if you just knew that all your bills were paid? Wouldn't it be nice if your car was paid off? Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to worry about a house payment? Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to worry about your child's college? Wouldn't it be nice? Security. But let's break this down like we have every week. We need to be looking at this scripture here in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 6 and 7. I want to look at this. It breaks it down. This is the context of what we're talking about today. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. Anybody born with like a set of car keys in their hand? That'd be really weird. I actually did see, though, a picture of a hearse the other day that was pulling a U-Haul. That really did happen. I don't know if that was that guy's personal car, but I saw it. But we brought nothing into this world, and we can't take anything out of it. There's a joke about an old man that just as he's about to die, he takes and he puts a large briefcase of money up in the attic. And as he does this, his wife looks at him and she says, "What in the world are you doing?" He says, "Well, when I die on the way to heaven, I can take that briefcase of money with me." Well, unbeknownst to her, that night in his sleep, he died. And so she ran up the attic and looked, and guess what? That money was still there. And she told her friend, she said, "I told that idiot he should put it in the basement so he could get it when he went there." And so, no. You can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. But what does the Bible have to talk about this money, about this very topic? Let's look at 1 Timothy 6:8. But if we have food and we have clothing, we will be content with that. Anybody ever been on a mission trip? I actually went on a mission trip with Miss Sharon and Jay there way back in the day. We went down to Mexico, and Julie was with us. Anybody else been on a mission trip to somewhere? Where'd you go?
We went to Arlington, Texas.
Arlington, Texas. Sounds like sunny right here. Where'd you go? Beijing. Wow. Anybody else been on a mission trip? Where have you been? Canada. Are there lost people in Canada? They have like free prescription drugs. How hard is life in Canada? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Where else?
I've been to Colorado. I've been to Wisconsin.
Yes. I was just saying I want to take a mission trip to Hawaii. Who wants to go with me on that one? Yes. Where have you been, Daryl? Honduras. Yes. Who else? I saw some other hands out there. Back there in the back. New Mexico. Anybody else I missed? Way in the back. I see a hand. Where'd you go? California. Yes. Mexico. Yes. So, one of the things I realized on our trip, we went to, I still can't say it right, but it's Monclova, Coahuila, Mexico. And one of the things that I found out when we were there was this thing, contentment. It was amazing to me because here we live in this country. Last week talked about God bless the USA. We live as blessed Westerners in this amazing country. But as I went to Mexico and we were amongst these people, guess what they didn't have? Stuff. They didn't have stuff. And it was amazing that even though they didn't have stuff like cars, like health care, like investments, retirements, even though they didn't have stuff, it was amazing to see the happy people that we encountered that didn't have stuff. It was amazing to see these people have church that had no stuff, this contentment that they had. But it talks about this. We notice that when we go on these trips that the richest are not those that have the most, but often those that have the least. Now, maybe there's something to be said about that. They've got no bills. They've got no utilities. They don't have to worry about, the new car that's coming out because they don't have the old car that's going away. I mean, they don't have anything. Discontentment, though, is something that can make a rich person poor. And contentment is something that can make a poor man rich. Just think about that statement for a moment. Discontentment can make an earthly rich person poor by never being satisfied. Never being satisfied. But the opposite of that, contentment can make a poor man rich. 1 Timothy 6, 9, 10. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. So we're seeing it's not the love of money, it's not money that's the root of all evil, but the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Anybody ever played the Powerball? I have. When it was over $1 billion, Julie and I went and bought some tickets. We did. But there's this pursuit. There's this pursuit. What would it change? Oh, the life that we could have. What would $1 billion do? I don't know. I've never seen it. I've watched Cribs. But is that where my happiness would come from? Is that where our happiness, if we made some more money? Because we've got these college graduates, or these high school graduates in some college, they're about to embark into their career. And the pursuit of something, why do we go for higher ed? Why? I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm a proponent of college. But why? What is it the pursuit of? Check this out. Do you know someone like that pursues money and loses their pursuit of anything else? Their friendships, their families? It sounds like having money is a bad thing. It's not having money isn't a bad thing. Loving it is what's bad, because money will be one of the greatest competitors of your heart for Christ. The Bible talks about money more than it does many other subjects, because Christ knew how much he would have to compete for your heart with the love and pursuit of money. And money's not always a great thing to talk about at church. You want to start a fight with somebody? You want to argue with somebody? Talk about money. Talk about money. Talk about giving money to a church. That'll get you going. Money will compete for your heart. There's a thing called this prosperity gospel, where the most righteous are rich. Those who have the greatest faith will be blessed by God. That's not what God does. God doesn't bless you with riches because, the way we're thinking of, like that little pirate chest that's out in our lobby for the kids this summer. It's not what God does. He doesn't say, look at you and goes, you know what? Because you love me the most, I'm giving you the treasure chest of gold. That's not what God does. It's about something else. It's about our blessings. He serves us. He serves us. God already came and he served us with the blessing of his son, Jesus, that came to be a servant king. He blessed us richly. And I love this, where we think about this. The most righteous are poor, Deuteronomy 8:18. But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. So think about this. God doesn't necessarily bless us with just, hey, you're going to win the Powerball. I didn't go buy a Powerball ticket and then go home and say, all right, guys, let's pray. We didn't do that. It's just something fun, something goofy. Hey, who knows? We'll give it away to everybody. But God gives us the ability to produce wealth. God gives us the ability, the blessing to produce wealth. And something we can never do is apologize for the blessings that we have in our life. We can't apologize for what God blesses us with. We can't let someone come into our house and, things that we've worked for, that God has blessed us with. We don't want to look at those things and apologize for what God has blessed us with. Man, I love Sonny's Jeep. I love Sonny's Jeep. I want a Jeep so bad. I love Jeeps, and I love Sonny's Jeep. But I don't want Sonny to look at me and go, oh, you know what, I'm sorry for having this. I really shouldn't have this. Him having that Jeep doesn't mean he doesn't love God. God gave him the ability to work. God gave him the ability to save. And God gave him the ability to have this Jeep. And it's a blessing of God. We should never apologize for the house that we live in. I remember as Julie and I were getting married, we had this little house that we were going to move into. And then God, man, he showed up. And there was just a situation where we got the house that we're in now. And it wasn't beautiful when we got it. But little by little by little, we've put money into it. And God's blessed us with something. But through that, so we always say, God, we'll use it to bless others. We want it to be a blessing. We want it to be a blessing. We want to share it. We want to fill it with great people. We want to share it. But through that, I can't apologize for God's blessing. What we need to do is maximize what God gives us and not keep it to ourselves and not hoard it and not harbor it for ourselves. But when God blesses us, man, you know what? Sonny's Jeep is always full of people. Going and hanging out with Merge, going and serving downtown. He uses that thing. My house is always full of people. I love having people. Or what is it that you do with your money? What is it that you do with what God blessed you with? I used to have a really good friend that had this lake house. They built a bunk house there. You're getting ready to go hang out with somebody this summer. They've got a boat, and they've got a bunk house, and they've got this lake house. And a lot of people would look at him and be jealous, but he says, you know what? Come use it. God blessed us with it so we could bless others. So you know what? That guy's rich because he's maximizing what God gave him. So what is it in your life that God has blessed you with that you're not maximizing? That you're not just keeping to yourself? Because I find out when we maximize what God gives us, guess what he continues to do? Pour it out. Pour it out. If we'll live our lives like this with our hands open, say, you know, it's not mine. God makes sure that there's something in it to keep giving away. God makes sure that there's something in it to keep giving away. We don't apologize for the God's blessings that we have in our life, not for money, not for our marriage. I'll never apologize for this woman that I have in my life. I'm blessed to have this woman. I'm pointing at Julie, not Sonny. I'm blessed to have this woman as my wife. I'm blessed to have the 3 daughters that I have, and I pray that that's how you feel about your marriage. That when you think about your spouse, if you're sitting next to him right now, just give him a little sugar. Just give him a little, there you go. Yes, thank you. Yes. If you got your kids next to you, kiss your spouse. Gross them out. I love to do that to my kids. Libby and Bella, okay, that's enough, Dusty. We have other people's kids. But I love to do that to my kids. Libby and Bella are at this stage now, and I love it because my wife, she'll go, well, we're not going to apologize for that. I'm going to kiss my husband in front of you. We don't go further than that and saying, where do you, never mind. But we want to, it's Max. I love this woman. She loves me. We love our children. I'm going to be that dad that's going to embarrass my kids till they walk across the stage. And I want them to know that, yeah, you know what? If nothing else, I want them to say later on, my dad was so embarrassing. He loved me so much. He always cheered. He always shouted. He always hugged me when I went. That's okay. We can't apologize for that. Maximize our blessings. 1 Timothy 6:17. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Anybody got an iPhone in your pocket? Or a Droid? Do you know that you have more technology in your pocket that went with the first space mission to the moon? In your pocket. Your teenager has more in their pocket. Your pre-teenager has more in their pocket. How many of you have a child with a Kindle or an iPad or your old iPhone? They have more technology in their hands than the first space mission to the moon. Just think about that for a moment. The blessing. The blessing. We walk around with hundreds of dollars of technology in our pocket every day. How many of you own a car? Raise them up. How many of you own a car? How many of you have more than one car in your household? BBs, you want me to keep going? Eric's ducking down. Maybe we don't have the car of our dreams. But like I said, I remember going to Mexico. They had a bus and a burro. That's the truth. But here, we may not have the car of our dreams, but just having a car puts you ahead of 91% of the world. Do you realize that? Just having a vehicle puts you ahead. It makes you richer than 91% of the world. And let's just go through an average evening or an average day for someone living in Joplin, Missouri. So we get into our car. We're talking about contentment here. And we think we feel this hunger. And so we go to our cabinets, which probably have food, and we'll go, I don't have anything to eat. You can prepare it right there in your microwave, which makes you pretty rich. You have a stove plumbed with gas or electricity to prepare that meal that you go, I'm just so tired. Let's get in the car and go find something to eat. And then we get in the car and we drive past 7 restaurants full of food that we can afford, that someone else is preparing for us, and we say, Joplin doesn't have anywhere to eat. Nothing sounds good, but maybe we have that favorite one and we drive to there, and then we get the food, and maybe we eat it there, and then after we order the food, we look at the menu, and after we order the food, we're dissatisfied at how quickly it arrives at our table, while someone else is preparing a meal while you sit on your phone, which has more technology than the first mission to the moon. And then we get back into our car, and we drive back home, and we park our car in its own house. And then we walk into our climate-controlled home, that if it's too hot outside, we can turn up the air. If it's too cold outside, we can turn it down. And then we go get on Netflix and hopefully chill. And then the next morning, we're going to wake up, and we're going to go to our closet. I don't know about you, but I have a 2-story closet. I got the top row and the second row. And I'll touch every piece of clothing. And you know what I'll say? I have nothing to wear. Anybody ever done that? Anybody ever done that? I'm just saying. Contentment makes a rich person poor. Discontentment makes a rich person poor, and contentment makes a poor man rich. Let me read this again. Right here, 6:17. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Oh my goodness. Why do we put our hope in money? Why do we put our hope in money? Money promises things that only God can provide. Money promises things that only God can provide. Money promises happiness, but it rarely fulfills it. If I could just have more money, I could be happy. If I could just have a better job, I could be happy. Is that always the case? If I could just have more security, if my bills were paid, if my car was paid off, if my house was paid, if I could just have more security, I'd be happy. If I was just more significant, money can promise significance. If I had more money, I'd be more powerful. If I was more powerful, I could be more happy. These are things only God can provide. These are things that only God can provide. You ever gotten a new pair of jeans? They're comfy, they're good, they get better with time, but they fade away. If in my case, you outgrow them. You ever buy a new car? I was just talking to my dad about that this weekend. You buy a new car, as soon as you leave the lot, it depreciates, $5,000, $7,000? Immediately. It's never worth what it was when you first bought it. And it just gets less valuable and less valuable and less valuable and less valuable. And we put all of this stock, if I just had a better car. I'm not talking to you, Crystal. Last week, she's like, I thought you were talking to me. She got a new car. I'm not saying it's bad to get a new car. That's totally okay to get a new car. But when we put our hope in things like this, when we have this need in our life and we think we need more money, we're deceived. Money is not the answer to our deepest needs. Jesus is. It's not the pursuit of anything that we can get. This endless pursuit of more stuff. There's no TV out there. There's no trip that you can take. Now, don't get me wrong. There's things that there's wonderfully joyful in those things. Like, man, I was talking to Christy Beebe yesterday, and I love what you had to say. She's got her oldest son about to graduate. And she just put it in perspective. And she's like, the money will come later. You have plenty of time to make more money. But she was putting in perspective right now. She's got tears welling up in her eyes, and she says, spend time with your family. Go take that trip. It doesn't have to be expensive. Go camping. Go spend time with your family. Go maximize your blessings. Go maximize your blessings. What has God blessed you with? Quit dreaming about what God hasn't blessed you with and maximize what God has blessed you with. Because, man, I could be depressed all day long looking at other people's lives. Looking at other people's lives instead of focusing inward on what God has done in mine. What's your testimony? What has God blessed you with that you need to maximize? More money isn't going to help your kids stay off drugs. More money isn't going to cure your best friend's cancer. More money isn't going to give you a better marriage. Those are the only things that God can do. Those are only the things that God can do. Here's what Paul says to the rich people in 1 Timothy 6. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. And so today, as we end this series, here's my challenge. Here's my challenge. I was one of these people that when I first got saved, I was scared to death to tithe. I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand how me giving money to a church was blessing God. No, it's not. It's going into the church utilities. It's going into it's going into the pocket. I didn't understand that. But it had nothing to do with this. It was about our heart situation with God. It was about the situation that we were in with God. And I've been in that position myself. And Julie and I have, believe it or not, we're extremely blessed people. You know, from the beginning of my life, it didn't start that way, but now where I am now, God has blessed me. And I love to maximize the blessings that God has put in my life. I love to maximize the blessing of time that I have. And I love to be in people's lives. I love to coach these little girls that I coach softball. Man, I look at coaching softball as a ministry. I love these people that I coach. I get in their lives. I learn about them, and I spend time with them. I love them. And so for me right now, that's a blessing that I can maximize. Okay, I'm not just going to coach. I'm going to get in their lives and be a light in their world. And I love to be generous. Because there's been times in our lives where Julie and I couldn't be generous. We couldn't afford it, we thought. And about a year and a half ago, year and 8 months ago, Julie and I were going through a really rough patch in our life financially. But through that time, we said, you know what? We were mature enough to know that we can't afford not to give. And even when money wasn't coming in, we still gave. We still gave. And it was amazing how when we still gave, money would show up. And it just proved that we couldn't outgive God. And that if we continued to maximize what we had. In the beginning, we didn't have something to start this church. There was no nest egg that we had to start this church. There was no war chest that we had to start this church. But what we did have, we said we're going to use it. And then there was a group of people that together, we said, you know what? We're going to come together and use what we do have and maximize our blessings and maximize what God has given us. And in the beginning, it wasn't pretty, but God honored it, and God blessed it, and God blessed it, and God blessed it. And there was this really cool group of about 9 couples, and none of them are rich. I was thinking, God, why couldn't you put a millionaire in the group? But I couldn't wish what we didn't have. We had to love what we did have. And here we are today. And so what I want to do today, it's not the love of money. It is the love of money. It's not having money. Money isn't the root of evil. Just money in itself. But in our own lives, if the love of money, the pursuit of money has overtaken your life, that's the danger. And what I want you to do today, we didn't tithe. We didn't give today. And so here's what I want to do. We're not going to give to the church today. I want you to do something practical this week. I want you to give every dime that you would have given here today. Every cent. And God knows what that amount is. I don't know what that amount is. I never see it. I see the big lump sum. I don't know who gives what. So I can't hold you in contempt for what you do and don't give. But this week, here's what I want you to do. As you leave here before next Sunday, you promise me, you swear, you make an oath, that before next Sunday, I don't care if you do it, if you go out to eat and you do it, go and bless somebody with that, practically in your life. I want you to pray about who God has for you in your life that's struggling, that's in need. Maybe it's a school, maybe it's another church, maybe it's I don't know. But you know what God has put in your life. And I want you to feel what it feels like. Because sometimes we lose that when we give it to the church. It's my spiritual act. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do this. But I want you to see what that's like. If you want to go do it anonymously and like ding-dong ditch somebody, you can do that. That's good. Or if you want to see the look and pray with them, I don't know. Go fix someone's car. Go buy someone a lawnmower. Go mow their... I don't know what that looks like. And maybe you're like, well, Shane, what if I wasn't going to give anything? Go serve somebody. Go serve somebody. But here's what I want to do this week. I want to celebrate what God does. As we do that this week, I want to make sure that before you leave today that you've liked our Facebook page, the church's Facebook page. And then I just want you to share little testimonies throughout the week. Share it on our Facebook page and say, I want to hear what God does. I want to hear where you gave it. I want to know what you did. Not to brag, but to celebrate. To maximize that. Maybe it'll encourage somebody else. So would you do that with me this week? Travis is going to have a heart attack. He's not here this week. He doesn't know I'm doing this. I'm so excited about that. But that's what I want you to do. You know what? It could be somebody in this church that you sit next to every week that needs it. Give it to them. Bless them. Honor them. I don't know. I know there's a church plant across town that's really cool. Maybe he needs it. Andrew with the light. I don't know. I'm excited about that. But I don't know what that looks like in your life. But together, we're going to pray over that. And as we go, that's what I want you to do.